Okay, I heard something. I heard too nice. I'm gonna have to put my back. It was something Sunday after at church. We're going through the mall. There's this guy hunched over like looked like a zombie. So I thought something not right here. So I sort of looked and did. Apparently, apparently, what happened was this. Well, I went and got the mall security, and all this. They got they was that standing up right hunched over, but doesn't know anything. What happened? Then he totally falls on the floor, and he wasn't breathing. And so I said to, and then by that point, I looked, pulled my, and I could see a big backpack on it with something bouncing from it. And I said, what I'm gonna sit there with security guard on duty at Jackson Square. Well, I'm gonna get the police involved in this now. But I want you to get the police involved, get anybody in this area cleared out of here because any kids in this area do not want them to see this. Anyway, so I pulled my Knoxstone out. I administered to it. It was that time the cops and the ambulance came and the police. The police searched the backpack. What did they find? Oh boy, they found 20 pounds of crack cocaine in the backpack, in the bag. And it was, and he about had 25, he sold over 5 pounds of it. So there's apparently, oh yeah, another, turned out there were a few people, turned out that when they started to run them, they found that out there was investigation in them already from both sides of the border too. So, in the U.S. and the Canadian side, the police were investigating for other things as well, other pike. Well, apparently, I looked at and then all that they brought him up on a stretcher, handcuffed him to a stretcher, took him to the hospital, got the drugs out, and then they took him down to holding. And come Monday, yesterday morning, I went to court, and well, guess who was on the bench that day? Bennett. Oh, Bennett said this to this young offender. Well, you're back in my courtroom again, but the thing is, I'm going to remand you. I said, I remand you in custody of the Hamilton Wentworth detention center, spending not on a no bail type condition, pending on charges, investigation, depending on the U.S. side, investigate FBI side. Oh no! If they want to deport you, then I will send the charge of a court will be brought over to American court where you will be trial for. Right now, I'm sending you over to Barton Street Jail where you sit there while, if in case you get deported. And I sat and they called me in to witness. Bob Bennett did. They said, "Wow, they'll give me a pat on the back. Say that's a damn good job." Cops said, "Good job, there." But I said, well, I have to testify as a court case when the state, if the U.S. judge told me I have to testify, you know, I don't want to be like getting all the way to border and have a big problem I had before borders. I don't think so. I know. That's it. Wow. Anyway, we don't know about it. That's wow. But thank you for bringing this to our attention. We got no. This guy wanted on racketeering charges. He actually wanted on an estates on racketeering big time, drugs, pushing charges, export illegal drugs, and selling illegal drugs on the street. Not only that, he racketeered a lot of people on the street by taking the government holding it, using government money to buy drugs. That is called racketeering. When somebody uses a sect like an OSP or a welfare and or old age, you know what happens? Whoa, here's what happens. I'll tell you what happens if you're wondering. What happened in the case of this? You will, it's racketeering. It can carry a very hefty penalty. You get paid up to 10 years in the penitentiary here in Canada. United States, it can carry up to over 45 years in federal pen in the U.S., basically, if depending on case. Well, anyway, so that was good. That was pretty good, with this, like he said. Bennett said, "Thank you for bringing douchebag off the street." Even Judge spanked me, Bennett spanked me in courtroom in Hamilton. I said, "You know what? You did actually, yeah." Only reason why I figured it out because number one, my dad being OPP and died in the line of duty. Before he died, he taught me a little bit about police work, enough, and I learned a lot about it over the years from watching Live on Patrol, watching Bob and Pat there, live. Learned a little bit about police work in the U.S. and sentencing wise. Also, I watched a lot of stuff there, knowing that knowing it just enough to know that a law is a law and to know when a crime is happening. Basically, for me, I do know to know a crime is taken. What happened next case is going to be, well, I may get, but I did today. I got off a phone with the court, with the FBI agent who investigated in the States. And I asked the FBI, would I have to go testify in the court on this? Federal Bureau had to testify on it, where Agent Morella would have to testify or not. So I said, dude, he asked me, and he said, well, you may have to testify. And I told him about the problem at the border I have, the inadmissibility issue. And the FBI said, don't have to worry about it because if you have any, we will, well, if you do testify, case will be in Buffalo, New York, if you do, in the Superior Courthouse. And on top of this, and you won't, if you go across by bus or you go there by cross, come in that way, bus, or Niagara Falls, or any border, we will be there at the border station, and we instruct the immigration agent to let you through, not to detain you or for sole purpose testifying. And you go, oh, okay, that's fine. They said, but we make sure that you get there anyway, putting it. So I might be going across the border testifying a case. And if it sentence, what he got caught, and actually he got charged with 20 pounds of cocaine, trafficking, and what else? And racketeering. Well, they told me this. Yeah, we got that information from the Hamilton police. We actually have obtained it, and we're talking. The U.S. Department of Justice just said, well, because he's not Canadian, they said, we're going to trial him on the United States, on the Canadian charge, and on our charges we have here again. We're going to try him on those charges. And that's what they said. Well, the answer the FBI can, so we do now, we on our, I talked to Adrian, I said, we can go up down the middle section. We going, I said, FBI, why didn't you send Bob and Pat Drexler from live on from Ramsey County, pick them up, Carton to Buffalo? Yeah, they might be contacting to do a transport to Buffalo. Anyway, so that's a good idea. They may come up and do a transport, or the FBI may do the transport by coming up an FBI vehicle and just picking that person at Bar Street there, load them back, cut them through the U.S. side of the border, put him in the jail in the States, hold him there until put him in the Erie County jail. He'd be held there until a trial date. Anyways, Well, yeah. Well, what about, I said, what about, I asked the FBI with me being in the courthouse there, yeah. Well, we will put up, we're going to want to put me up in a nice hotel for a night, and then I can cross back over on my own the following day, or something like that. And the FBI said, don't worry, we're going to put you up in the best room in Hyatt Regency downtown, best room at the Hyatt they got. Food, everything included for 2 nights actually. So if we have a little holiday after court and then come back, then head back home again. Anyway, I'll probably take I said I'll probably go and take the Amtrak train from Buffalo to Aldershot anyways, yeah, to, or do I try to do that? Sorry, I still went that to him, but and probably with this cross the border at Niagara Falls, Ontario, cross the Niagara Falls, and go to the bus station, take a bus. Anyway, okay, enough said about this. This is pretty good. It looks like the case is sort of gonna go to U.S. now, not to Canada, but because this guy done so many bad things on it, he was taking people old age, and he was stealing like Social Security checks in the state. And what did he do? He had conned, and he would fortunately cash them, and he had bought and used that money to pay drug guys, and he didn't get. I went and he had money. He'd been doing this, and now he's done the same thing. Alan with a big brick of 20-pound thing of crack there. Anyway, so well, he very honesty. Get an honest thing about it. Number one, his life will be screwed forever. He will be screwed. Not only being screwed when he gets out of when he get released, he gonna be he won't be able to cope outside the penitentiary, and if he makes it. But the worst thing that can happen to a person like that in the penitentiary who wanted in the U.S. big time, well, guess what? Inmate having let inmate one inmate will slam a door, and they go like this. We got it. Oh, we got a newcomer in the jail cell. Or well, we got a newcomer in here. Oh boy, he looked good for breakfast in the morning. Oh. And then he wakes up in the morning. They come around with a food tray, and all the inmates gang up around it, snatch the terror on the floor, and then they will turn around and go, bang, bang, bang. And he's crying, God, help me, get me out. And the guys will sit there. The prison guards will sit right behind the computer. Go da 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 da. And the people go, oh, and I drink a coffee. Okay. Oh, have another coffee. Yeah. And have another coffee on the desk while they're sitting there going, boom, boom. And what can happen next? Well, the guards then finally to come out. He's bleeding on the floor, and he's unconscious again. They have to rush him to the hospital, and you know what? He gets out of the hospital back to jail. The inmate turn around again and say, "We're gonna take a fruit on him every time." The inmate take a fruit on him. He will get nothing. He starves to death and die of starvation. Finally, he only way he has to literally do that so bad to get put in solitary. Then he gets a meals all the time and able to eat. So basically, it's like basic rule of law here. If you can afford to do the time in jail, you can afford to do the time in. If you can afford the time in jail, do the crime. If you can't afford the time in jail, don't do the crime. It's plain and simple. You can't, because you know why crime goes nowhere. All crime is, it's people trying to cheat and get away with stuff, break the rules. If you can afford to do the crime, don't. If you can afford to do crime, you can afford to do the time. So if you can't afford the time, don't do the crime. End of story here.